This video is about dealing with holograms that are on artwork. And so I've got two examples here of artwork that has holographic elements to it. This one is like kind of just a bit traditional foil hologram on the letters, and then this one has like a multi-facet diamond shape. Kind of looks like a glitter. So understanding why a scanner can't usually scan this correctly, you have to understand why a hologram works. And a hologram works by the angle of the material being a different angle and a different distance from your eyes. And so your eye is just one source, and the light bounces at different angles on here, and it hits your eye all at different times and stuff. And that's what creates that effect of like a bright area and a dark area. But when you put it on a scanner, it's like 1,000 eyeballs moving up, and they all look at everything straight on equally, and then it puts it all together, and you just get a consistent image. And that's good for a scanner because we want it to be straight and flat, and looking at it in that way, but it breaks a hologram effect. And so there's two ways that you can get around this, and that is to either use a camera or you can use a scanner to get the hologram effect. The camera, you have more control of the effect and you can make it look the way you want it to, but because of the extra distortion that the camera adds, it's a lot harder to put it all together and make it work. Whereas the scanner, the image will be basically the same, just the hologram effect will be there, and so it's easier to put it together. You'll just have to decide on a case-by-case situation. And so if we take a camera, we can see you can you see here, you can make the effect work like you want, but the resolution of your camera and the lighting calibration and all that are going to be very different than what you get on a scanner. So that's where putting them back together afterwards is difficult. To make this work on a scanner, so first I'll just do the scan to show you how this looks normally. All right, and so there you can see the hologram effect is just almost a black, solid black color. And then if we do this one, because of all these facet textures, it's going to look different, but the consistency across the image will still be there. And so it'll kill the hologram effect. All right, so there's a texture there on the letters, but there is no hologram effect. It's just the same all the way across. So the way that we can make this work is that we have to make it do the same thing that our eyeball is doing, and that is the light has to hit it at different angles and cause that randomness to happen, and that's what creates the shine. And so the way you do that is you have to elevate one side of the artwork so that as the scanner moves across it, the angle and the distance changes, and then that makes the light reflect differently as it moves along its path. Now, in my experience, when you have a hologram that's long like this but narrow, if you make the sensor go this way across it, your variation is going to be from here to here, and you're probably going to fall within the range that the distance of the effect is going to be long, and so these might just end up being a similar color. But where if you do it this way, so that if it's long ways against the scanner, over here you're going to start out at kind of like the regular scan, and then as it gets further and further and the booklet is getting further away from the glass and the angle is getting bigger, the effect will start to happen. It'll change. And so you're more likely to get an effect going long ways. So if I put it down here and I just raise the end a little bit, and this part is flat, all right, so there you see you get a pretty pronounced effect. And then the other thing you can do is you can lift both sides so that it's kind of like bowed up on both ends, and then the middle is the only part touching flat. I'll just let it rest on that bar, that aluminum beam right there. Okay, and so now we'll do the same with this one. We'll put it flat and then just rest it. Now you can, it doesn't have to be lifted up very high, so you can use something like this that just has a little bit of thickness to raise it up. Right now I'm using my fingers just because it makes the effect pretty pronounced. Okay, and you can see the different color on the end. And now I'll bow it up on both ends. Right, and then the other way you can do it is if you bow it like this, so that the middle part is now not touching. And you can do that. You just put your thumb and your finger there, and then just kind of let them rest on the glass. And that'll give a similar effect. It'll just invert the colors. Okay, so now we can go to the computer and see how you actually deal with this. So here are some of the variations. here the scanner element is moving this way. So right here on this end, it was flat against the glass, and then as it moved against further away from the book, you can see that change started to happen. Here's where I lifted both ends. So the scanner started here, and in the middle where the glass, where it was touching the glass, you get the basic look, and then on the either side you get the hologram effect. Here, again this way, and then as it got towards the other end, you get the hologram effect. And then here's with both ends lifted up. And then here's with it bowed. You can see it's just basically it's the same effect, it's just the color switches. So this greenish effect is now moves out here to the edge, and this becomes a blue in here. So here's like the flat version. This is like the scan that you want to use eventually, but we want to replace the hologram here. So what you do is you take your hologram area, and let's see if you don't have, so if you just have it just a rigid how it starts, add a layer, and okay, so just put this over here somewhere. It doesn't really matter where you put it, just close but out of the way. And then I'm going to put a white layer behind it, kind of in between them. And that's just so I can see the shape a little better. All right, so now I've got that white layer, and I'm going to set the transparency so it's a little see-through. Okay. So we'll start with this E right here. This E has the biggest difference. I just am concerned about the part that's the hologram. Don't really care about anything else. Okay, and then take it and I'll move it up here. And so this is why you want it transparent, so you can overlap them, and you want to make them pretty even. It's okay if the updated part is a little bigger than the part on top. So it's okay if this part, the one that has the hologram effect, is a little bit bigger than this one, which is the one that we're replacing. Okay, and then let's see here. I guess we'll take this other E. And then again, you just make sure they're about the same. If you need to rotate it, if they're not quite the same rotation, you can get it like aligned on one side. So if you just get that as close as you can on one end, and then move your anchor up here, and then you can either grab it down here at the bottom, or anywhere inside you can use your right mouse button, and it'll rotate on that point, that anchor, and then that'll let you swing it into being aligned with the image below it. All right, so you would go through here. Normally you'd go through here and you would just move all these letters up to the same position as these other ones here. And then what you're going to want to do is isolate the layers. So here, so let me set the transparency back to full. Okay, and then I'm going to save this as its own layer. We'll call this overlay. And that's going to flatten everything, and then you just hit Control Z to get it back to where it was before that. Now turn that one off and turn this one on and save that as a different name. Call this the original layer. Okay, and then we can open that. And then we open up the layer, the other layer, and copy it and add it as a layer, but then move it below so that it now is behind the main image that we want to keep. And so now what we do is we get the eraser tool, select the foreground. And so here, if you click on these straight lines and then you hold the Shift key and then click at the end, it will move that eraser button or the tool all the way to the end. So it makes really easy to clean up this kind of stuff. So you can see what's happening is that the hologram effect is now shining through, and we're getting rid of the kind of just the flat hologram. Now, once you start doing this, it's real easy. Just turn off the background that's on the behind it, and now you can see everything that you're wanting to, that you need to get rid of. You're just wanting to get rid of the area that's holographic. Okay, and so now you have the hologram effect is shining through. And once you do all of those letters like that, what you'll end up with is this is what it looks like with it just normal. And then that's with the hologram effect on all the letters. And then here's this one where it's all just a kind of a dark. You zoom in, you can see the texture there, but it's all just the same color straight across. And so here is I used my camera and took a picture and then did the same process and edited it in. And so now you get a real nice holograph effect in the middle. So hopefully that'll help you figure out how to make a hologram on cover art look really nice. And if you have any suggestions on doing it a different way, I'd love to hear it. This is a very time-intensive way, but it does do the trick.